my work elevator makes a lot of really funky noises when it goes up and down. Like it will hit the top and then it'll go and then open, and then you go step out and it will drop an inch.
Oh, I know. That's not good. Mine is not even like the sounds, it's the speed. It's where you press a button and it's like ding. And then it's like another 3 minutes before it gets to the next floor. Oh. And you're like, I'm pretty sure that this isn't right.
They want to make sure you're safe, Danny.
Well, then you should come to the elevator at my work because it goes from 0 to 14 in 5 seconds.
Oh.
And you have to like pressurize your ears because you're going up 150 feet.
What do you work for, NASA? Get it?
No, I work for heaven.
Oh.
Considering I work on the 21st floor, I do have to pop my ears when I get to my floor.
Wait, you work on the 21st, but you go to the 14th?
No. So how it's split up is there's 2 sets of elevators. The first set is 0 to 14, and then the second set is 15 to 26.
So you have to get out an elevator, hop on another elevator?
So they're both on the bottom floor.
Oh, so one just like skips up. I see.
Yep. And so it like zooms past, and so literally you go from the bottom floor to the 15th floor in like 5 seconds, and then it slows down for the rest of the floors.
Crazy. That's crazy. Well, that's not what we're talking about today. Should we get going? Are we ready?
What are we talking about today?
Welcome to the Twaddling Along podcast. I am your host, Dan McBride, here with my co-host and brothers, Josh.
Why did you introduce yourself by your full name?
I don't know.
Hi, I'm Josh McBride.
Do I do that often?
I feel like you've been in a conference this week.
I have been in a conference. Hi, I'm Dan McBride. And Jake.
McBride.
Ew.
Oh, sorry. I was taking a drink.
I heard that. And now
it was good water.
We're slowly becoming more ASMR. I'm gonna have a drink of water.
If that's what I sound like swallowing, I'm concerned. What the heck's wrong with your throat? I don't know.
My esophagus.
I'm glad that I have thick cheeks, and so people can't hear me drink because I can hear myself drink, and it's horrible.
Well, what do thick cheeks have to do with that?
That's what I was going to say.
It dampens the sound from coming out.
Oh.
You have natural insulation, is what you're trying to say.
Exactly.
It doesn't do the.
Mine, I have the TMJ, so every once in a while when I swallow, it like cracks my jaw.
Ooh. Oh, I have that too.
And so you're like, oh, that wasn't good.
The number of times I've been in a dentist chair and they're like, open your mouth, and my jaw does like an enormous pop, and the hygienist is like, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. They're like, it doesn't really make that noise. And I'm like, that doesn't give me any hope. Then the dentist is like, oh yeah, it's this.
You'll be fine.
Have you guys ever had like lockjaw?
I have actually, yeah.
Me too.
Yep, I have had lockjaw.
Where it's locked open and I like freak out, and so I like force it.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Yeah, mine is more like either I've been chewing on something for a really long time that's like super fibrous, and so my muscles will seize, and then it's like most of the time it's actually not locked open, it's like locked closed.
Oh, see, mine locks open. So like locks like this, and I had to like
you should, go.
Yeah, I just realized that I like showed you guys, but everyone on the podcast probably just sort of like,
what's he doing?
What the heck?
Use your imagination. Josh just detached
he put his
jaw.
pinky in his nose and then reached around and put his pointer finger in his ear.
It was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen. Oh, he's attempting it now. Oh, you can do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
pretty impressive. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's not
You
hard.
guys, inherited long fingers. I did not.
Oh,
Have you noticed that I have shorter arms and fingers than probably my size?
that is weird. I wonder what side of the family get that from.
I don't know. It's one of those that you guys can reach up and touch the ceilings and stuff, and I'm about the same height, and I reach up and I'm like a whole foot off.
Let's see if mom's side has short limbs.
They don't.
No.
Our uncles had long arms.
Well, Scott didn't.
Yeah, Scott didn't.
I mean, compared to his size.
I guess that's true. So we're not talking about dental procedures to this day,
or
and we are
short
not
limbs.
talking about short limbs
or my deformity.
or Jake's unfortunate arm length.
But my wife loves me anyway.
It's because you're a sumo. Remember, we already discussed this.
We did.
Speaking of which,
And I just want to point out that as soon as she listens to that, she's like, "That's not what I meant." And I'm like, "I'm sure you're right."
I like it's always very telling when they're immediately defensive. It's
Yes.
like, oh, we've caught you in something.
You just liked me for my flubber.
No, we are on the human condition, so we could have talked about any one of those things. We could have talked about dental problems or short limbs. But this week, we're going to talk a little bit about some mental things. Specifically, we're going to be talking about drive versus motivation and procrastination. Now,
You didn't include it in the text that was about motivation.
Well-
I studied the Utah driver's manual for this, Danny. All that hard work out the door.
Josh, did you find anything about the short-limbed people?
well, I'm looking at our great grandpa, and how far do your arms come down when you're standing up?
So, from art, and you guys know how good I am at art. Not really. Like your arms are supposed to go to about mid thigh. Mine go to about. See, this is me stretching. It doesn't work out too well.
I think it is a rough thing because great grandpa rough comes down to around his mid groin.
So not only do I look grumpy all the time, but I get short limbs too.
Oh,
Thanks a lot, Grandpa. Great Grandpa. I loved Grandma. She was amazing.
she was. So let's talk about drive and motivation for a second.
Drive and motivation. I have no motivation.
Do you know that you need to be about 15 yards away from a stop sign? Oh, sorry.
No, it's actually 10 feet. Come on.
Oh, shoot. I misread that.
Is that for parking on the side of the road?
No, that's for stopping.
When we're
I'm just
talking
kidding.
about drive and motivation, gentlemen, we're actually talking about the feeling or wanting to do something or the force that pushes you to act. Now, motivation and drive are actually two different things in the psychological world. Motivation is much more external, while drive is internal. Motivation, you're most of the time working towards something that's very physical. You know, I'm working to lose weight to go to Hawaii. I'm taking extra classes so I can get a better job, blah, 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 blah. Where drive is more of a constant state of being. You know, like I have the desire to learn a new language, and so I'm going to do it. I'm not actually like seeking for anything. I'm not looking to learn this new language for something else. I'm just wanting to do it. It's the force that pushes you to take action. Drive is often described as innate. It's an internal force that compels us to act. It's the willingness to work persistently and to push through difficulties to achieve a desired outcome. In other words, it's everything that I don't have. I don't think that I'm driven. No, that's not true. I think I'm driven in some things, but like in general,
dude, you finished your master's in like 2 months.
Yes, I did, because that was there's a difference between drive and desperation. Desperation got me through grad school. Drive got me to nothing. Nothing. No, but really, I'm gonna open this up with a couple questions, and then we'll go through drive for a minute. But I do want to get to the bulk of this episode. I want to talk about procrastination because I think it's really interesting. But do you two consider yourselves to be driven individuals? We'll start with Josh.
I think it depends on the day. As I've mentioned previously, I think with my diagnosed mental illnesses, some days are better than others where like the drive is, you know, I am motivated and driven to like do everything and be organized and do great. And then other days I'm just like, as my wife and I have been calling it recently, just a bump on the log. Like, I just have become one with the log that just lays in the forest.
Oh, there's a bump on the log in the middle of it.
There's a frog on the bump on the hog in the hole in the bottom of the sea.
There you go.
No, but I think it depends on what. The thing that I feel like I'm driven on is not important things.
Yeah. Well, that's a really interesting, I guess that's a really interesting point is can you be driven or can you have a certain amount of drive for specific outcomes. Like, some people say that a driven person is just a driven person. You give them anything, they're going to naturally kind of want to succeed in everything that they do. Other people say that, the drive is more individualistic and focused more on like an outcome that you want. What about you, Jake? Are you a driven individual, do you feel?
Non-working traffic signals are treated as four-way stops.
Thanks, Jake.
I appreciate that. And it comes to being driven, I would say, yeah, I am. I'm a driven individual.
I was going to say you're pretty driven to get things done.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that I wish I'd be more driven in, but I mean, early on, maybe it was out of just sheer self-guilt. I wanted to succeed in.
Sorry, I didn't know what I left.
I have
self-guilt.
It's because you guys know. But because of that, I've always sought. I've always sought to excel in academics. Sure. I mean, that was early on. I mean, I sought to be a 4.0 student, and I mean, if I got 3.9, devastation and things like that. So I always just kind of really worked hard for it. And even now, I mean, as we've talked about earlier in the podcast in the past, I think it was the New Year's resolution. I'm going back for my master's, mostly because I missed out on school. I got bored.
Yeah,
and dude, do you want to finish mine? Because mine is crap, dude.
Well, you're almost there, Josh. See?
I know, I'm right there, but so
I mean, it's one of those that you just do it. I mean, I've been doing it for 2 months, and I'm 50% of the way through, just because it's.
Oh my heavens and Betsy's.
Well, and it's exciting for me, and that's kind of the fun, is that initially it's overwhelming, and there's moments when you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do it, and then you start looking into it more, and you're like, ooh, this is exciting.
And you do push yourself. I will tell you that I am not driven, but I consider myself to be incredibly outwardly motivated. If I've got something that I'm working towards that is the goal in mind, I'm gonna hit it like hard. Mm-hmm. The reason I was able to get my master's done as quickly as I did is because I put a ridiculous amount of time towards it. But see, that I wouldn't ever consider that to be driven. And I think yours, on the other hand, Jake, is driven, because you don't have like. Mine was, I want to get this for this reason, and yours seems to be more like, I want to get this because I want to get this.
I want to get it, but also to learn from it.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, so it's one of those, I want to get it done in a certain amount of time, but it's also one where it's like, I'm not going to rush because I don't want to finish it and go, I don't even know if I got anything from that.
Sure.
See, and I as we've been discussing, I think my thing is I'm a great starter. I love starting new things, and I'm driven at the beginning, but I'm a horrible finisher. Like, I get about halfway through, and then I lose the motivation and drive to finish. I could go back to even growing up in video games. I never finished video games. I would always go back to the beginning and start new.
Or he'd accidentally race over mine.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to start over.
Yeah. But like, I never finished anything. And as I look through my life, that's been a lot of things that have happened where I've started something. I got a good way into it or whatever, but I never finished.
Why do you think that is?
I have ADHD out the wazoo.
Is it also that you have a fear of finishing? Because this is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit, in that, because I am empathetic with where you are, because there are some things where I can get something started, like a project, and then be the most enthusiastic person in the entire world about it. And then like I start to become nitpicky about what is going on during that project. Like I almost become so self-critical in doing something that I almost am like, I just have to back off and be done with it.
See, and I think that's kind of how I am. Jake was saying that it's the self-guilt. I think as I start a process, I learn how to do it better throughout the process. And so by the time I'm in the middle, I'm like, oh, I could have done this so much better if I start over. And so I convinced myself, since I've learned, I'll just go back to the beginning and restart and do it a lot better than I did the first time.
Interesting.
Bum, bum, bum.
That is very interesting. So going back to drive versus motivation, let's talk about motivation for a second.
Money.
What? That's what I was going to ask. What motivates you? Does money motivate you?
I don't know. How Jake go first?
Jake,
Drivers must yield to pedestrians at intersections and crossroads.
what does that have to do with motivation?
That is a motivation.
It makes it so I don't kill people. Motivates me to, obey the law. What motivates me? That's a good question. I look at it as I have initially it was a lot of self-motivation. It's just like, I want to improve. Mm-hmm. Like I'm ever seeking to improve. I'm always looking for opportunities to learn something. When I decided to switch over to information technology from the psychology field, it would have been easy for me just to go, you know what, I could probably get a help desk job and then just start from there. But it was like, no, I want to learn this. And I kind of got that from Grandpa McBride.
Yeah, I was going to say Grandpa McBride, thinking about the family, the McBride side of the family, I think that there is a lot of deep love of learning.
Yes.
Big time. Absolutely. I love family history, and so I go back. A lot of them, even from the very early stages, made education a bigger priority than most back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I would go down and visit, one of the big things that he would tell me is like, if you want to get into something, you master that something. You don't just go into it just to do it. You master it. And he says you'll stand out and you'll feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that I've tried to do that. Now, becoming a master in something, I would say I still am working actively on hopefully mastering something someday. Because my thing is I want to master too many things at once.
Sure.
So, and that usually gets me distracted. So it's one of those, it's there.
So Psychology Today put together the 10 most common sources of motivations. The number one is external incentives. If you want people to do something, you reward them. Mm-hmm. So that reward is a really big thing. Avoiding losses is a huge motivation. And for me, I think that's a big thing. I don't want to lose out on something because I was ill prepared. And so if I'm going to go after something, if I'm going to try to succeed in something, a lot of times I'm not looking for the prize. I'm scared to death of what I'm going to lose. It's kind of the fear of missing out, a big FOMO kind of thing. Number 3, hitting rock bottom. Number 4, intrinsic motivation. That's just the behavior that is driven by internal rewards. That's drive. So maintaining a positive self-image, self-validation, curiosity, autonomy. This is a really interesting one. A lot of times people are motivated just to feel like they're in control. That's what they mean by autonomy.
Sorry, that's me.
I think that's all of us. We have a little bit of a type A in all of us a little bit.
If you look at the majority of my fears and other things, it's because I lose that ability to feel like I'm in control of the situation.
And I'll say that if you ask my wife, vacations used to be a very hard thing if I didn't plan it. Or if I didn't have my own vehicle where I was in control. For example, her family lives out in Delaware, New Jersey, stuff like that. And there was one instance that we were going out there and we were going to be sharing a car with everyone that was going. And there was several people who were with us, not just my wife and I, but just her whole family. I had like a mental crap.
Yeah, episode.
Yeah.
Mental crap.
Yeah.
I pooped my mental self.
It came out of my ears, out of my nose.
Code brown.
But I had to come to terms with not being in control because I didn't have a vehicle of my own.
Sure.
And I feel like that's how it is with like motivation and stuff as well. Like sometimes if I'm not in control, it drives me nuts. But if you ask my wife now, sometimes I'm like, meh. And then it drives her nuts.
Well, that's good, though. I think that there's something to be said about being able to give up control. I am not one of those.
You're the oldest.
Yeah. I am not good at saying, just take it. Take control of the situation, do it. If I am not in control, there is a bit of panic, because if something happens to me, to my family, to my friends, to my work, and I don't have like that ability to adjust and move forward, I hate it. I hate everything about it.
And this is where I'll throw in the thing that I think motivates me is obsessiveness.
Ooh, we're going to talk about that when it comes to procrastination here in just a second.
But just obsessing, because I feel like a lot of the times that I'm motivated or driven to do something, it's because I'm obsessing over something.
Really?
Not necessarily because I want to do it or want to be fulfilled or whatever. It's because I get it in my head and I obsess over it.
Do you guys ever wake up in the middle of the night with a specific thought that just repeats?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's usually, I'm not worthy. Oh my gosh.
Oh, see, I'm more talking about like,
Just kidding.
Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and like you've been working on something during the day and you're up in the middle of the night and that thing comes to your mind and you just think about it and 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 think about it?
I will be honest. No.
Really?
I
don't
don't
have
have that. No.
Oh man.
No,
that is
I have other issues, but that usually is indication of something going on with my body. Like if my stomach is upset, I get those stupid awake dreams where you're awake but you're
still dreaming
at the same time, and it will be repetitive. But in terms of that other stuff, I've dreamt about work and stuff like that, but I haven't woken up and stressed over something. Maybe that's something bad about me where I'm just like, whatever.
Or something good about you that you don't have some kind of, obsessive compulsive disorder.
It's my study of psychology.
Oh yeah, I have it all the time. I get up and mine is usually like something really dumb. It doesn't even have to be about work or anything. Of like, did I lock the door?
And then it repeats.
And then I go and look and I know the door's locked and I'll go back and then I'll convince myself that I didn't see it right. So I maybe need to go check again.
Awake enough to
Yeah. And so, like I said, I think mine's because of my mental illness.
Yeah, mine is just, I'm sure that mine has something to do with anxiety or whatever, but I will often wake up in the middle of the night, let's say like the day before I'm working on some spreadsheet, and I've been working on it all day and I've got it to a place where I really like it. I can leave it at work for the entire afternoon, evening time, not even blink or think about it, no thoughts in my mind about it, go to sleep, and I can wake up about 3:00 in the morning and that is the only thing that I can think about. And like I having done a little bit of therapy and knowing that there are some intrusive thoughts going on, I'm able to do some actions to be able to kind of remove that. But a lot of times if I don't, I could literally be up for the rest of the night thinking about spreadsheets for over something that probably has absolutely no importance to my life.
Calculation equals sum parentheses, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, do you know what pisses me off? And I did say piss. Sorry, Mom. Is when I've been working on a problem all day, can't figure it out, go to sleep, and I wake up at 3:00 and know the answer. That makes me so mad because I can't like go and input that answer right then and there. And then I forget it by morning.
Well, that's why. So
do you not keep a little notepad next to
keep a
your
notepad
Heck
by my
no. If I were to write things down at night, it would probably be the Adamic language or something like that because I wouldn't be able to read it.
Do you know it actually might help you?
That is something. So
I know.
No kidding, Josh, because I have started to do that. Where I keep notepads everywhere and all over the place. But that is something like if it's so bad, a lot of times I can get up and if I'll even like just jot down like 1 or 2 sentences, that is a coping mechanism that works for me.
So here's my question. I'm going to lighten the mood just a little because I feel like we're deep. What is the thing that you have been most motivated to do or driven to do? do you feel?
Get school done.
Get school done.
Oh my gosh. I was way too old to be still in school with way too many children and way too many bills. And I finally, it got to a point where I said, if I don't get this done now, I'm never going to get it done. And so that was a big motivation for me. And when I got it done, the weight that was lifted off my shoulders was glorious. What about you, Jake?
Well, about me. What did I do? Where am I?
Who am I? What's the point of being?
How am I? Anyway, well, we probably shouldn't go into that topic. Anyway, one of the big ones was really pursuing my wife.
Dude, you stole my answer. Getting married was like my biggest drive.
Yeah, it was one of those that I was going to school and doing all those other things and stuff like that. But once Julie came in the picture, it was kind of like, I'm going to do all this mostly for her, and I'm going to be doing all this to make sure that she's going to be comfortable at some point. And honestly, I mean, that's still a motivation to drive for me even
that
now.
Is a huge motivation.
Is that it's like I want her to be comfortable and things like that.
The masculine pursuit
Yeah.
of being a caretaker. Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, when a little thing, we worked together.
Gross.
I know.
Conflict of interest.
It was one of those.
Sue you.
Here I am, loud, boisterous, prideful, and then here she is, quiet, diminutive, reading a book on the corner. And I instantly had like a crush, and kind of went out of my way to find opportunities to talk to her.
Which was weird for you.
It very. I mean, you guys
I
remember.
remember the day you came home and said something about it, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, because up to this point, I mean, I had a lot of people trying to get me on blind dates. And I just said I'm not interested in dating. But as soon as I saw Julie, it was like,
because I'll do this. I'll say this. I had my first kiss before Jake did.
Oh, cute.
I had my first kiss with my wife.
True.
I win. Anyway, but yeah, it was one of those that like I was motivated, kind of. Because it was one of those, I was motivated, but I was cautious just because I wasn't sure her kind
Interest
of,
in you.
yeah, if her interest, and also if she was already dating. But I mean, our work environment, I mean, we would go out in trucks and then go around the city and things like that. And so they usually had us do weekly checks of trucks. And one of those is you had to check the tire pressure in the truck. I would purposefully hold on to the tire gauge until she needed it and then go and give it to her. I would wait until she was at the water fountain to go get my water. I mean, it was one of those. I mean, like other people might look at it and be like, "He was stalking."
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I mean, it turned out because it did, you know.
And I just like to point out, everyone, this is the mosquito abatement that we're talking about. We've probably mentioned this a lot of time, but even though it's a government entity, this is brought to you by the South Salt Lake and Salt Lake County Mosquito Abatement
City.
District.
Salt Lake City Mosquito Abatement District.
Okay, manager.
There's no counting anymore. Well, if you're going to say it right. Gosh,
no, it's very deep within. No, I feel like that was my biggest drive. Because after I came home from my mission, I did a lot of just everything to stay busy. But as soon as Kylie came into my life, man, everything
Just kind of revolves. And I think that's when you go about life and expand with family and other things like that. I think that just makes me more motivated. Like, I'm also motivated now. I want to get rich so I can spoil mom and dad.
Oh, that's nice. I want to get rich to spoil myself.
That's good.
I want to get rich. So
you can afford a house.
Brought to you by Utah.
Brought to you by Generation Z.
You son of a... Yeah, because of you stupid heads, I can't afford one.
Hey, what are you talking about? I had to buy a townhome for an immense amount of money.
That's true. You jackwagon Daniel.
I'm an elder millennial and could afford a house. So let's jump into topic number 2, which actually I think really falls in line with exactly what we're talking about, and that's procrastination. Now, for those who don't know what procrastination is, and I'm sure that is...
I looked up the definition. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
Me.
The act of putting off something that needs to be done. Now, this, what I found after I actually chose this topic, when I started to do a little bit of research, is that procrastination is actually like a really, really well researched, especially in behavioral sciences, thing. There are hundreds and hundreds of papers about procrastination. There's huge cultural biased studies that are done. I mean, there's psychological perspectives, there's health perspectives. It is a gigantic topic. And I didn't realize that it was going to be so big. I thought we were going to be like, procrastination means that I'm lazy.
So what you need to tell them is at the very get-go, if someone says, I have the perfect fix for procrastination, you can say, you lying piece of garbage. That is so not true.
Well, and that's the thing that, and maybe I came into that with that bias. I honestly thought, okay, this is going to be
You lying piece of garbage.
I thought that this was going to be kind of a fun topic to get into because I was like, oh, maybe I can finally solve my procrastination problem. And now all that this has done is this has made it so I've got a lot of reasons why I shouldn't solve it.
Do you know what's fun? I procrastinated studying Procrastination Day until like an hour ago.
And do you know what I did? I was my own test subject, so I completely procrastinated and didn't even study for this subject.
So there is a lot of really interesting studies. I want to talk first of all about the cultural aspect of procrastination, because this is something that is really widespread. As a matter of fact, there are some studies that say that upwards to 55% of individuals in the West, which is Europe, United States, consider themselves extreme procrastinators.
And I'll say this, I think it's gotten worse over time. And we'll probably talk about that, but like if you were to go back 100 years ago, you couldn't procrastinate like farming a field. You couldn't procrastinate doing some things because that literally you would die. You would die.
Yeah.
Where nowadays everything comes so easy to us because we could go shopping, we could do this or that I feel like our culture is set up to make us procrastinators.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, we are procrastination is kind of the opposite of delayed gratification. You know, it's when you procrastinate, you are delaying the inevitable thing that has to be done to a point where when you go to do it, it's done, you know, halfway. It's just not done correctly. Now, before I jump into this cultural perspective, I'm going to ask you guys this. Are you procrastinators? Josh, let's start with you since you giggled like a hyena.
Hands down, I am the biggest procrastinator. I just want to point out, Jake has 2 degrees, working on his 3rd. Danny has a bachelor's and his master's. And Josh, yeah, so I would say I'm the biggest. I am very much a procrastinator in the sense of, and the thing is, I always blame my ADHD, but like, I am one that like, oh, I'll get to it. And then it comes time and I'm like, oh, shoot.
You got your associate's degree, though.
Oh, thanks for making me feel better.
You have a degree. I mean, that's going to make it so I have another degree on my 3.
Degree, wait.
Yeah, it'll be at number 3. So, Jake, are you a procrastinator?
You can't operate a vehicle in the leftmost general purpose lane on a freeway if your vehicle weighs 18,001 pounds or more.
Wait, so 9 tons?
I guess so. And 1 pound. I mean, if you're 18,000, you're fine.
Shoot, man. If I weigh like 201 pounds, that puts me over the limit.
Procrastinator. It's one of those that I procrastinate some things, other things I do not. So I don't consider myself a procrastinator in general. I just procrastinate certain activities over other activities. One of those main activities being cleaning.
Oh,
I do not like cleaning, but I love a clean house. So there's a problem. I want to have a clean house, but I also don't want to clean, and so I usually put it off.
and isn't it funny that, you know, us growing up, we always had a clean house because Mom always made sure that we had a clean house. And I'll speak for the 3 of us. I don't think we're the most clean people
Ew.
on the planet.
No.
And
It does
so-
not come naturally.
Yeah.
But I think this goes to the kind of person who mom is. Mom is not a procrastinator.
No.
I mean, in no sense of the word. Mom, when there is something on the plate, she gets it done immediately. Like there is no putting off. There's no
And if you say
anything.
you're going to put something off, ooh, you were in trouble.
Yeah, and I guess that's the case. You know, I wish I would have picked that up from mom because the act of procrastination is stressful.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
absolutely.
it is not good for your mental health to be a procrastinator. Like it is detrimental because then you do have this anxiety in the back of your head, like, oh, I should get this done. I should get this done. I should get this done. And yet, even though you are literally suffering, you don't get it done. Why is that? What is wrong with us?
Well, Danny, if you look at the brain.
Talk to us, Jake. Talk to us about the brain.
Wait, Josh has to say something first. He's excited. He has it on the tip of his tongue.
You talked about mom having that. I'm going to bring up an interesting point. I think our sister is not a procrastinator.
No.
She's
I guess
very
that's true.
similar to mom. Us guys are big time procrastinators. And I will say, and I feel bad for saying this, our dad is a procrastinator as well.
I think dad has the natural inclinations to be a procrastinator.
Yes.
I don't think dad procrastinates anymore because I think that
He has a
over
wife.
time.
No, but
I honestly, I think over time, dad has actually developed the skills to kind of not procrastinate.
yeah. Yep.
You know, I still think that it's there. And I think that that's something that I was going to bring up when it comes to the cultural. There is something about the culture in which you are raised or the culture in which the world around you kind of functions that builds into you procrastination. This isn't just something that comes out of nowhere, you know. There is some really, really kind of, what would you call it, nurture involved with procrastination. So,
But what I was going to bring up, is it gender specific? Is there more percentage of men who are
that's an interesting
procrastinators
question.
compared to females? I know both have procrastinated tendencies, but I don't know.
I think it's one of those that like there might be studies, but it's one of those that it's hard to always determine the truthfulness behind that.
Yeah.
Well, because it's qualitative.
Yeah.
Like this, you can't have a really good quantitative idea of what procrastination is. You can't be like, you know, mathematically speaking, procrastination means A plus 7 equals 42. You know, like there's not like a good way to define it because everybody's idea of what procrastination is going to be very, very different and very, very self-reflective.
Yeah.
According to research, males tend to procrastinate more than females. Let's see if there's a percentage-wise here. Probably not.
Because I'll go back to our mom, who's not a procrastinator. She was raised by two people who, I don't know, you guys can correct me, are not procrastinators either.
Grandma definitely not. Grandpa,
I think later, as he went later in life, he had more,
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
but I think he just got old.
Grandpa was motivated. Like when you talk about someone's motivated, Grandpa was motivated.
Yeah, but I mean, but dad
Oh,
Dad
no,
was
dad
raised
is
by two people who were not. They were not that way.
at all.
They were incredibly like time rigid.
time rigid, but if you think about it, mom's family was always 15 minutes early
That's true.
when dad's family was, right on time.
Yeah. Interesting. One thing that Jake brought up, I think that's interesting as I was looking at the males versus females, it is not significant. Even though the trend shows males procrastinating more, some studies find that there's literally minimal gender differences in the overall procrastination.
I thought you were going to say something about Jake was right, the 9 tons and 1 pound.
I mean, that's how it works. if there's any semi trucks in the freaking left lane, you're illegally traveling
Call 'em
on
out.
the road.
Pull him over.
That's right.
Citizen's arrest.
So it's kind of fun when you study procrastination. Especially because there's just so many different studies, as Danny was talking about. One thing that I always found really interesting is when you study the brain, you have a lot of different parts of the brain. The very front portion of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, is kind of the main. I don't know how would I describe it. The thought processing portion of your brain.
Yeah.
The thing that the portion of the brain that kind of brings everything together and kind of helps you focus and kind of persevere and stuff like that. When you face negative feelings on a subject, you release certain neurotransmitters or chemicals in your brain that take away, like, they'll make your brain like shut down portions of like your prefrontal cortex, which makes it so you're not motivated, you're not thinking correctly, you're not really focusing on something. It's something's very similar. I mean, when you're looking at like addiction,
Yeah.
when you have addiction and stuff, and you're getting heavy amounts of like dopamine or things like that, that's getting rushed to the different parts of the brain, and it's taking away from the prefrontal cortex. So you're not thinking until after the activity, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, shouldn't have done that. And it's kind of similar with procrastination. Is there's things where it's like, you should, but that negative feeling about the activity kind of takes it away, so you're not as worried about it until boom, suddenly it's there, and yeah. So
one of the biggest factors to procrastination, one of the psychological factors, is perfectionism. And it almost seems like opposite. Like, well, you would think that a perfectionist would not have any kind of procrastinative tendencies at all, right? But no, they say that the fear of making mistakes or not being good enough a lot of times is one of the largest drivers of procrastination.
Does that mean if you don't procrastinate, you're like, I'm not perfect, whatever, I don't care anymore?
I honestly, actually, I think it kind of does. It maybe you see the fault in what you're doing, and you're okay with that fault, which is actually kind of a healthy thing. You know, being able to recognize that you're not perfect is one of the big things that they talk about in anxiety and depression. Like, once you realize that you're not going to be perfect and nothing that you do is going to be perfect overall, you're able to take the steps to be good.
Yeah.
You know, good is the, what is
So I'm never going to clean as well as mom does. So
what is the quote? Good is the enemy of perfection, or perfection is the enemy of good, or something like that. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to hear some other psychological factors?
Procrastination comes from the Latin word crastinum,
Which means?
tomorrow.
Really?
Yep. So procrastination literally means tomorrow.
I am all for tomorrow.
And so the opposite is precrastination, which means today. So before tomorrow. So doing it today.
procrastination taught me how to do 30 minutes of work in 8 hours and 8 hours of work in 30 minutes.
Been there.
I love deadlines. I love the whooshing noise they make as they go by.
Oh, is that who is that? It's an author.
It doesn't have.
Is it Mark Twain?
It doesn't.
No,
have,
Mark Twain does have a really funny one. Mark Twain's is why do today what you can put off till tomorrow?
That's true.
I'm going to stop putting things off starting tomorrow.
No, who is that? The wishing. It's by actually. I think it's who's the guy who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Douglas.
I almost said
Douglas
spilled.
Adams. I think that's who said it. Anyways, here's a couple more psychological factors. Fear of failure. The idea that regardless of what you do, you're going to fail at it, so why not put it off and fail at it at the big end? Low self-esteem. Overwhelmed. You've got so many things going on in your life that you're kind of forced to prioritize things, and the way that you prioritize things inevitably makes it so you have to procrastinate things. This is one, the overwhelm, that psychological factor I think is very common today.
Yeah, the thought that I have is I feel like today in our culture, because of different elements such as technology, that I feel like a lot of people feel ill-prepared to finish a task. And so instead of, trying to perfect yourself to do that task, we just put the task off. Just like Jake was saying, you want to become perfect before you do it. Where nowadays it's, well, I'm not perfect, so I'm just not going to do it until the end. And I feel like it's like that, that fast gratification. Like
Yeah.
if I don't get it like right off the bat, if I don't get that participation trophy like right at the beginning, then it's not really worth it. So I'm going to just delay it until.
They do talk about rewarding procrastination, immediate gratification in a lot of the things that are done right now actually tends to actually push procrastination to be more normal. Time misperception, thinking that something is going to take either longer or shorter than it actually takes.
So here's my question, and I love this group of people. Polynesians have no sense of time management, and they call it,
Not all Polynesians. Josh is making gross generalizations again over here.
I'll say they have poly time, which is the best time in my opinion. It's just whenever.
We get there when we get there.
Are they procrastinators?
I don't think that they're procrastinators in the sense that the idea of what procrastination is going to be cultural. And to them, that's normal. It's the same idea that they talk a lot about East versus West procrastination and how a lot of it is based off of like the perceptions of others versus the perception of self. If you go to the East and you explain how we in the West work, our work day, what it is filled up, what we do, everyone over there would see us as grossly negligent procrastinators.
Yeah.
And us, on the other hand, are going to go to the East and actually kind of think the same thing. We hear of like the Japanese working 12 hours a day. We hear of the Chinese doing like huge projects quickly, and there's a part of us that makes us feel super uncomfortable because we go, that shouldn't be taking that long. What are you actually doing? Or that should take longer. What are you actually doing during that time? And so to the Polynesian culture, they probably see us as dumb and doing things too fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Telling us to slow down.
It's kind of interesting because I lived with people from Hong Kong, and at the end of the time that we were living together, we had to come up with a plan of, what does our next 5 years look like? And for a lot of us Americans, it was, get married, all that stuff, whatever. And marriage was a huge part of it, where the Hong Kong people were like, that's not a priority at all. Yeah. It was education, get my doctorate's degree before I even think about dating somebody or something like that. And so I definitely could see, that they probably look at us and it's like, why are you like trying to do it so quick when you have a lifetime to be able to do it, whatever.
Sure. I actually think so. When you go to, when you read the Wikipedia on procrastination, I actually would recommend, this is one of those Wikipedia topics that is actually super interesting just because of how like well put a lot of things on. If you go to the cultural perspective on procrastination, they talk a lot about in the West, our big thing is mastery approach. We want to become individually masters, where that is not the case for East. They want to be performance and what do they call it? I think they call it networked mastery, meaning that as a group of people, we are masters at this thing.
Yeah, they're it's a difference between individualism and collectivism.
Sure. Now, here's one thing. There are some people that believe that a certain amount of procrastination is not only normal, but a very positive thing.
Interesting.
Have you heard this, Jake?
I don't think I have. I'm curious.
So most of it's a lot of anthropologists actually. So we're talking
Anthropologists.
But one of the things that they say is our ability to procrastinate is probably actually an evolutionary trait that was really positive for us because we could start to prioritize tasks. Mm-hmm. And procrastination was literally just like putting off a task that wasn't as important. And if you look at the natural world, that's like being able to actually prioritize tasks, prioritize duties, prioritize even wants and needs is not something that's there. It's not instant gratification. We were literally able to delay our gratification, which is kind of what procrastination is. So.
And that's going back to what I said earlier of like 100 years ago, there wasn't such a thing as delaying farming or delaying some of those things because it was a life or death thing. And so it makes sense that we learned the skill of prioritizing because it was a life and death matter.
So the question is, what priorities do you guys have that's making you procrastinate all those other really important priorities in your life?
Nothing good. Honestly, I think we've talked about this a couple different times, but being sucked into the instant gratification, the immediate dopamine release. So, watching the 30-minute YouTube that's going to make me most excited. I can so easily fall into that, or, watching the same TV show again and again instead of doing something, trying something new, doing a task that I need to do because I'm getting kind of that dopamine response where I know that if I were to sit down and actually do my task, I'm not going to get the dopamine until the very end. So I don't want to. So
I don't feel like it.
I'm going to push it off and push it off and push it off and push it off.
Now I'm going to do a rage against the machine, but do you think culturally they force us to have certain priorities higher than others?
Ooh.
Which make us procrastinate other things that may be important, but...
Give me an example.
For example, money. Money is a thing that culturally and economically we cannot do without.
Right.
If you don't have money, guess what? You're screwed. And so that's a huge priority, which takes up a majority of a lot of people's time.
Yeah.
Now, let's say that back in the day, the priority was family. Today, that can't necessarily be the number one priority because a lot of our time is spent on money because of prices, different things like that.
Very interesting.
So rage against the machine, man.
Well, and I think that there's something to be said about that. One of the biggest concerns, obviously, in the United States right now is the obesity epidemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
the Jake epidemic. Well, sorry.
And I think that you could probably make a argument that we are not prioritizing our health because of other things.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, like I said, we're focused so much on something else that takes a lot of our time that we don't have enough time to prepare meals, to get the necessary food groups incorporated. We have the fast food words. I don't know if anyone heard that. There you go.
That was a good
Just the
snap,
instant, like,
Sure.
so you have more time to do the other things that are.
Do you know what I discovered? I have a new snack addiction. The Cheetos popcorn.
Oh,
Have you
Oh, is
guys-
that good?
that is good.
It's good, but do you know what's better?
What?
Buttered Cheetos popcorn.
Buttered Cheetos popcorn. You get movie theater butter.
Oh,
Pop that on that, and it becomes something else. It also becomes a cheesy mess, and I am orange by the time I'm done. But
do you know how you can combat that?
why would I want to combat
Chopsticks.
Chopsticks.
it? Oh, my wife does that. She does that
You
with
eat-
flaming hot Cheetos.
Yep, you eat butter popcorn or like Doritos or Cheetos with chopsticks. But then that gets rid of the best part.
See, no, I'm all on
This part, everyone.
stuffing my mouth.
Gross.
I love stuffing.
You love stuffing?
I love stuffing.
What the heck? Where did that come from?
Stuffing my mouth.
Oh, stuffing
oh.
your mouth.
I was like,
thought you were talking about
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving stuffing, like dressing. I was like, yeah, that's true.
I do love stuffing too. I would stuff my mouth with stuffing if I wanted to.
Oh, stuffing your mouth with stuffing is
Ooh,
awesome.
turkey. Does anyone else want to make a turkey?
I will.
Ooh, we should do a deep fried turkey.
Ooh, that would be good.
That would be good.
It's your guys' birthdays.
Hey,
let's
did you
do
know that Popeyes you can order a deep fried turkey?
Really?
Can you still do that? Or is it only on
No,
in November?
only during Thanksgiving, but it has the breading that like Popeyes has on the turkey.
You know, want to know my problem? I'd procrastinate ordering it until the last second, wouldn't get it.
True.
Like literally, it's funny that we bring up Thanksgiving and procrastination because there has been some times, where like I will put off buying that one ingredient until the last second, and then you're kind of at like the bargain barrel things that you have to get. Like
Get a 8-pound turkey and you look in there, it's half a pound, and you're like, oh crap.
Exactly.
That's why I order off my phone, because I'm already doing a needless activity. I might as well do a needful activity.
So what helps you all with your procrastination? Like, let's say that you were given a task and you know you have to do it. What do you do to combat your procrastination?
Accountability.
Explain.
Having someone else that I'm accountable to. So, for example, school. Being accountable to my wife and talking about the goals and different things that I have for school, and her making sure that I'm accountable to those goals.
Yeah, interesting.
Where before I was just like, I'll get it done, and then it never got done.
What about you, Jake?
Do you know that you can turn left on a red light if you're turning from one-way road to another?
Jake's checked out of this entire conversation.
Wait, you can?
Yeah.
He's completely gone.
I have to use the knowledge I studied.
Wait,
He's utterly just...
wait. You could turn left on a...
So think about it. Think about it really carefully.
I know.
Danny. He's looking so happy that we're having this discussion.
If you're going straight, and let's say that one lane road is a left because it has to be a left turn, that would mean they're coming.
But it's like you're turning right on a road because they're only going one way. You're not worried about two different traffics coming.
Oh my Lanta.
I know, it's exciting.
I feel like I'd still get pulled over.
It probably. Anyway, so for me, I break up tasks. I am one that I do the work breakdown structure where you break it down into little tasks that I can achieve at times. So, I mean, with my schooling right now, you have tasks that you do, and inside the tasks, there's objectives, and usually there's a rubric that goes with it. If there's like 6 different objectives to complete in that task, I'm going to break them up into, like, I'm going to do this one this day. And it's like I only spend 15, 20 minutes. Like, I've learned that I can't do more than 20 minutes because my mind doesn't process information after that. I get distracted really easy. So same thing with cleaning a kitchen. I break it up into tasks. And what I do actually for cleaning, and just because I'm so horrible at it, and my wife will tell you as such, I have to make it where I start from the left and I work to the right. And even if I look over and go, oh my gosh, I need to get that done. Nope. I got to stay where I am, and I slowly work my way over. And I found that I actually get more done doing that than jumping from, oh, I got to get the counter clean. Oh, wait, the kitchen table. Oh, wait, no, the sink. I just work left to right. So,
and that's how I am. That's why I think mowing lawns is so like satisfying to me, because you have to work from one corner and move towards the center, or start on one side and then move to the other side.
Or your grandpa swears at you.
It's peaceful. Do you know the other thing that helps me? I'm reading a book right now that's talking about doing things in groups.
I'm sorry.
And so making it, if at all possible, something that not just you are doing.
Networking and building up your crew.
Yeah, exactly. Like losing weight. I suck at losing weight by myself. But if I'm doing it with somebody, like my wife, or with, family or whatever.
Are you saying we need to do our family competition again?
Family challenge.
I want to, but no.
Am I the only one that loved that? I like doing that.
No, I like
mostly
doing
because I
it.
won both times.
I just don't have time because I'm procrastinating everything else.
Oh, here's my thing though. And I almost operate in the exact opposite that you guys do, in that if I know that I have to get something done, I will get it done. Meaning that I will sit down and just power through the entire thing all at once, even if it takes me 12 to 14, 16 hours, because I know that even if I give myself just a bit of a break, just a little bit of a separation, the chances of me now procrastinating the rest of it just logarithmically goes up.
Danny,
I mean, it just increases.
I think you have some obsessive tendencies.
What?
I'll say this. There was one time, Jake, you were on your mission when this happened.
Oh.
But Danny lost a ton of weight.
Sure did.
I remember the picture.
And do you know how you lost a ton of weight, Danny?
By not eating.
You did not eat at all. And so you lost like 50 plus pounds.
I could do it again, too. I'm going to do it again just to do it. I'll
No.
show you all. And I'm starting now, and in 4 weeks, you will be done. I'll never eat again.
And then,
Hey, do you know you
and
can
then I'm
go
going to
about 3 weeks
present
without
you with
food?
the popcorn that I have
And
found.
then I'll eat it all at once. No, but really, it sounds funny, but like that kind of system works for me
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
oh, absolutely.
I don't think it's the healthiest way to do things, but like it is for me if I can say, okay, I just need to get this done. I'll give you an example of this. Couple of years ago, I got into my mind that I was going to,
all in one go.
I was going to make Mom and my mother-in-law a leather purse
Yes.
for Christmas. And I'd been doing leather working for a while. I was super excited by it. I bought the leather and then just didn't do it. Just procrastinated. And finally I went downstairs and I said, I cannot procrastinate any longer. And I literally and I'm not kidding you, about 16 or 17 nonstop hours focused and got it all done at once.
Moses.
And afterward, you're broken.
Do you just get angry?
Mentally shattered.
I think that's the difference. I think you get angry at yourself, so you're like, I'm just going to do the freaking thing.
I get pretty grumpy with myself.
Where I'm like, I get sad and then I cry and then I feel bad.
Well, I don't think it's anger. You want to know what I think it is? Manic.
Ah.
I think I become manic. Which opens
He's
up
a maniac.
It opens up a whole nother conversation.
The Animaniacs.
Oh, I love the anime.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona. No, just kidding. That's not the.
I was
That's not
gonna
the
say
song.
that
That wasn't
not the
even
song.
close.
Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas. I can't remember.
It's because it had nothing to do with the states. It was the countries of the world.
Well, Wacko did the countries of, or the states of the United States.
I see.
And then Yakko did the world, and he keeps updating it. You know, he still sings that, but he updates it every year.
Really?
Yep, he has it memorized. I
Rob
listened to
Paulson.
him. He's a really good guy. Do you know who else is a good guy? The guy who does Goofy's voice. Do you realize he's been doing that for like 50 years?
He's been doing that since the 80s.
Does he do it on the new Mickey cartoons?
Yep, he's still the
Good
voice
heavens.
for Goofy.
I don't know what they're going to do when he eventually either retires or passes away. I think he's going to do it till he goes. But, I mean, he's in his latter 60s.
You know,
so.
I hope not. And let me tell you why. Have you guys watched, for all those who have toddlers, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Yes.
The very early Mickey Mouse Clubhouse was with Mickey's second voice after.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that
Mickey's
man is
aged.
having a hard time doing the Mickey. It wasn't even like that. It's like hi, I'm Mickey Mouse. Ha. And you're like, oh, Mickey. And then you can tell when he retired. I actually think he passed away.
He did.
And the new Mickey voice came in, and it was like young, exactly, super new and enthusiastic. And you're like, something's happened. Mickey's got a new lease on life. He's happy.
It was sad because that Mickey, the older Mickey, he was married to Minnie. The voice
was
of Minnie
he
at the
really?
time. Yep.
Wasn't he handpicked by Walt Disney to voice Mickey Mouse?
I don't think he was. I think it was the person
I
before him.
think he was
okay.
the third voice.
Because
of
now
Mickey.
isn't there two technically who voice Mickey?
Well, you have the guy that does the normal ones, and then you have the one that did the
Runaway.
Wonderful World of Mickey or whatever.
Oh.
The one that Danny loves so much. Yeah.
I do. Because
Wait, which are those the shorts that are on Disney Plus? You
Yeah.
like that one?
they're the ones that the Mickey Mouse train
Yeah.
ride thing. That they're based.
You
off
like that one?
Of. I love.
I think those ones do make me
I
laugh.
think they are hilarious.
I do think they're funny.
So
We're showing off our Disney.
we're
thing again.
procrastinating getting to the end of the show.
Oh, were we talking about the end of the show?
So let's get to the end of the show.
Oh,
We've made it to the end.
Have we?
We have.
Dang.
So
it's about
let's-
freaking time.
I know.
Just kidding.
It was the longest podcast ever.
I'm just kidding.
Makes me sad
Why does it make you sad?
because I picked the topic and I thought it was a good topic.
It was a
good topic.
Get over and show you good
But
topic.
I looked over you a little bit earlier, Danny.
Turn on his panic.
Danny, you were yawning and crying.
I was. To be fair, I just came off of kind of a long work trip. And so,
whatever. You just like traveled to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, whatever.
Yeah, and then spent the majority of my time either listening to scientific presentations or sitting in my hotel room typing on a computer.
Can you
Very
imagine?
exciting.
I just want people to imagine, because all of us have sat through like mosquito instruction or a lecture on mosquitoes. They're the most boring thing.
Oh, that's not true, though. I actually had some really interesting ones.
Even our
He
grandpa.
has to say that.
If you use the hibiscus, or what is that called?
The proboscis.
The proboscis.
The hibiscus.
I'm gonna go shower.
Golly. We're not bad mouthing mosquito presentations. They are all very good, and
Yes, they are.
they do wonderful things for the world.
Wink, wink.
Final thoughts, Jake.
Oh crap!
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
right.
think about this.
I'll tell you why I started with Jake, because he's been giving driver things all day.
Keep your physical driver's license or mobile driver's license with you when driving. Yield to pedestrians. I already did that one.
Have you guys gotten your digital?
Yes,
driver's
I
license?
do.
Do you guys have it?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. But
Is it easy?
do you know what's super funny?
It's not that hard to get.
Is it doesn't, like, police don't recognize it.
No, they don't.
It's just used for TSA.
Oh, you mean when I go on my trip, I don't need it? Oh, I still have to drive there. Never mind.
Yeah.
Are you going to do your pre-check? Not that I'm completely derailing the last comments.
It's like $75, so probably not.
Okay.
Final thoughts for Josh.
Final thoughts for Josh.
I didn't get to finish mine.
I'm sorry, Jake.
That's because you procrastinated.
you procrastinated.
I was so excited.
I'm the biggest procrastinator of them all. I'm not a crook.
I am not a crook.
I did not sleep with that woman. I don't know.
It's like every time I hear that, I just think of the Call of Duty zombies, where you get to play as them. And he's like, "Whoa, zombies! I'm out of bullets."
What's the other one? Katrina. We're gonna lock her up.
Oh, that's George Bush.
Yep.
We're gonna find her.
Obama. We've just killed Osama bin Laden. What's Trump?
That was
Trump. I am the chosen one.
And then Biden. Poof, poof, poof. That's him falling down the stairs.
oh
See, you guys can't complain because we just made fun of everyone's president.
And then there's George Washington.
I got wood teeth, dagnabbit.
my final thoughts. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Join us.
Oh, we forgot John Kennedy. Nah.
Cuba's not in crisis.
Ich bin Berliner.
Ich bin ein stupid.
Oh dear.
Hey, do you know that Grandpa used to call us stupid all the time?
Grandpa used to call stupid?
He would dial.
He would just tell
1-800 stupid.
No, he'd call us Dunkopf.
Oh, you
yes,
mean when
yes.
he would call us, yeah.
I don't think that's stupid, Josh. I think Dunekoff means something else.
No, it does
let's
mean
find out.
stupid.
Because
While they're looking up the definition of Dunekoff, which is probably a really bad word, join us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure that you are rating us. Leave us a review. Put some comments down.
Oh.
And that really does help us in the long run. We are trying to be more active on our social media pages as we are going forward. I think there's going to be some exciting things coming up. This is the last of our kind of 3-section, which means that we do have a week off next week. Come join us the following week as we talk about
I ruined your train.
some kind of history topic, which will be chosen by yours truly. I'm going to try to pick something that doesn't make my brothers go wildly off topic.
wait. You have it?
I sure do.
Remember we choose the last and the first one.
Oh, you did the ghost last week. For some
Yeah.
reason I thought Danny did it. I was like, why do you have it again?
Nope.
By the way,
I do
do
have
cough. Sorry, it's not do cough, it's do cough.
Which is what?
Stupid head. So
Hey, I also want to point out it also means fat head. So I think he was just calling us fat the whole time.
I see blockhead. Don't be such a doomcoff that you are out of private information.
Half-wit. That's what he probably meant.
With that, thank you for joining us as we've really, really twaddled about this time.
Hey, everyone, don't procrastinate liking and subscribing.
You mean like I did until like yesterday with our last podcast?
Do you know that my wife was literally looking through the list and went, Jake isn't even part of the group. I think she sent you an invitation because
I'm not part of the group because... Well, no, I'm part of the group because I can log on. Or is it because I'm an admin?
I don't know, but you weren't showing up on any of the lists.
Is it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what it is you're probably admin, but you yourself have not joined the group.
I've had, and I apologize. I've had random moments where I'll see someone did something with our group, and I'll click on it, and then I'll start doing the reels, not realizing they're doing on our account. So I'm like, it's a good thing I haven't liked some of them. We would have been kind of interesting. So
thank you so much for joining us on the Twaddling Along podcast. See you soon.
Synonyms of Dukoff, bird brain, bonehead, bubblehead, chowderhead.
Remember,
Chucklehead.
driver's license is
Clockhole.
required at all times.
Clot.